Hi, Jason Spangler, the SanteeSwapper, back with another unboxing. And this time it's pretty cool. I have in one small box here, I have items from a son and the father. So this was from the lady whose dad, she sent me his collection, and then also her son who's passed away, his collection. Had several conversations with her over the phone. Some of them were pretty interesting, maybe a little emotional as she sort of shared some of the stories. And she is actually sending me more information about her dad, including some pictures, so that I can try to put it all together and make a really nice display because his sash and his Eagle medal are very vintage, very old, and I definitely want to keep them as part of my permanent display. So watch me cut into this box, and I'd love to share the history and a little bit of the story with you. Okay, and right here, I'd love to see this. She left me a little small personal note just for me to see. And what you can see right here, most of the items here are going to be from her son. And we can pull these out and see he was also an Eagle Scout. And so this little pouch here, it's tied up pretty well. I got to get into it here. Here we go. Cool things like the mother's pins. You might remember if you were a scout getting mother's pins, and then some parents would put these on a little ribbon, and then usually the mom could wear this to courts of honor and like a little sense of pride there. Then here's the Weeblos colors. I'm sure many of you are familiar with that, and it's got all the pins on it. And then here's even a medal from it looks like winning a Pinewood Derby medal. And then here's her son's Eagle Scout medal. And this one, we will see in a minute the one from her father, and you'll see how much different they are. Here's a real easy way to tell them apart too, is that this is a pin back. And so this is one of the reasons why this became kind of an emotional conversation for her, talking about she shared with me that she has two stepsons who she's very dear and very close to, but she also felt like if something happened to her, that they would have had no connection to her father and less of a connection to her son. They would have not really known anything to do with this stuff, and this was stuff that was important to her. And so we talked about that and agreed that I would make her an offer to buy the items, and then I would keep them in a display, which I'm going to do, and that might be the start of me kicking off sort of a different thing that I might end up doing with some of the collections that I get. I probably can kind of skip through this a little bit. This is kind of all the patches that her son got. Um, his name was John, and was also named after her father. So the grandfather was named John as well. So his patches you can see here from Cub Scouts to the different things he's done, including this was one that we shared. Was we both camped on the Yorktown. I'm sure many of you who have been to Charleston and Scouts stayed at the Yorktown. And so there's some people who even collect these patches, which is kind of fun. I've been there when I was a scout, and then also when I was a Cub Scout leader, I took my son there. All right. Again, you can kind of see the care that she took in wrapping all of this. And so let's start with her son John's, his merit badge sash, which will, be very familiar to many of you. These are the modern patches that a scout would earn. And so you'd have to earn 21. He earned just a hair over that. And so he achieved the rank of Eagle Scout. And all of these are, sort of the ones that you would recognize here. So this is neat to me in that we have sort of like a grandfather and grandson collection. And then this is the sash of her father, which is just tremendous from sort of the history and then also from the fact that it shows you the time period before 1932 when the Scouts had these square merit badges. Now, let me show you the patch here, which perfectly helps date it for us. Camp Todd, 1930. That's a felt patch sewn on the sash. A lot of times back in the day, I have seen older sashes where camp patches were sewn either like on the bottom, like we have here, or maybe on the back here. And actually, there's a 1931 Camp Todd patch right there. So we'd have all that together. So this was a Camp Todd, I believe, was in Kansas. That's where her father grew up. And so we can see here all of these patches here, which are going to translate into a pretty cool eagle medal in just a minute. But what I really like about this sash is we saw in her sun sash, it was kind of the merit badges that a scout would get going to summer camp and doing those, sort of normal things. And so a lot of the camp merit badges that when I was a camp director, we taught at Camp Barstow or Camp Coker when I was younger. But you can see here, starting with this one, here's farm records and gardening. Then we're going to have sheep raising or sheep farming. I'm not sure what it was called back in the 30s. Animal husbandry, bird study. This is one of the farming badges as well. Then there's cement work, photography, first aid to animals. Another one of the farming ones here. So just a lot of really interesting merit badges, not just the ones you would see normally. And so I think this is just such, being that there's so many merit badges on it, this is really what kind of convinced me, and I truly told her this, and I'm going to turn this into a display because I think that to let anyone take these merit badges off of this sash and sell them individually would just be kind of a real shame, and you would lose all of the context that this scout was growing up in Scouts in Kansas, did all that stuff. So let me pull this out as well, and we'll see what else we have. So this is his Eagle medal in the case. And you can see here, and it's got a little bit of wear on it, which, if I was 100 years old, I'd probably have a little bit of wear, almost 100 years old. And part of that is because he has the palms. So those palms on there are sort of weighing down on the ribbon and caused it to ripple just a little bit. And he has what I believe to be a silver palm and also a gold palm, which I think that means he earned 20 merit badges more than what you need for Eagle, if my math is right. But again, you can kind of see this style of eagle that he got in the early 30s is different than the one that his grandson got much, much later. And then let me pull these out too. There's just a few other little pins here. I don't think, let me just double check and see what that guy is. I'm not actually sure what that one is. But there's a couple of other patches here that are cool to me. So as I look at these look to be, now I'm a little, so I think that this is a old patrol leader patch, and this is gonna be like a senior patrol leader patch. At first glance, when I saw them originally, I thought they might have been for an Explorer program, but I don't think they are. Now looking at them closer, I think that's not what they are. There's a couple of things here. So it's a ribbon. Back in the day when you were an Eagle Scout, this is the kind of ribbon they had that looked a little more military style. That was signifying if you had gotten your Eagle rank that you could wear as an adult because they didn't really want you to wear the medal. So, anyways, this is a cool collection. Obviously, I'm a little geeked out about it, especially the square merit badge sash and her dad's Eagle Scout medal. So my idea would be to take both of these together and sort of have it as like, grandfather grandson collection, and put it together. Share some of the pictures that she's going to send me, including maybe a little write up of the obituary, just so I sort of have the whole story there and present it as a scouting family, because really a lot of the people that I hear from in selling these scouting memorabilia, that they have family connections. Sometimes it's both brothers are Eagle Scouts. The dad and an uncle were all Eagle Scouts, and so it's sort of a family thing, versus something that's just kind of a one-off. So, anyways, I hope you enjoyed taking a little bit of a history trip here with me, and definitely I'm excited to see this. Maybe in a future video I can show you what this display would look like once I kind of figure out exactly how I'm going to lay it out. Jason Spengler, the SanteeSwapper. If you have a collection like this, maybe not one from the 1930s, but maybe one that you got as a scout or that someone in your family has, and is sitting in a box, sitting in an attic, not being looked at, no one's appreciating it, please reach out to me. I would love to talk to you. Go to my website, scoutpatchcollectors.com. You can get all my contact information there. You can text me, you can email me, call me. I would love to have a conversation with you and just hear the story about your scouting past. Thanks very much for watching.